Hey everyone, and welcome back to the bench and to the second part of cages. And in this short video I thought we'd collate the last 4 basic skills videos together and make something from it. So from flush cutters onwards, which will be flush cutters, eye loops, shepherd's crook clasps, cages, and let's make a bracelet out of all those things. So what component are we going to be making? Let me just quickly show you. There you go. So nothing really that heavy when it comes to wire. It's very basic stuff. It's perfect for you beginners, but the idea is that you finalize those skills, that you practice those skills over the last few videos and make something from it as well. So this video is all about precision measuring. This is about, yeah, we're going to make a bracelet, but what I'm getting into you is we're going to measure everything down to the millimeter, and everything's going to be precise, and every single one of our components stroke cage beads are all gonna look the same with perfect eye loops, each side exactly the same. I've got a little jump ring trick I want to show you as well, how we're going to put them together. So yeah, should we crack on and let's get on with what tools and equipment we're going to need today. Tool list for today. I will be using bell pliers. If you don't have any bell pliers, you can use your round nose pliers. Chain nose, flat nose, #1 tools always at my side. Flush cutters, I have my heavy duty ones out as well as my small ones because I will be cutting maybe thicker wire later on. Metal ruler, chasing hammer, block. The main wire gauge I will be using today, or probably the only wire gauge I'll be using today, is 18 gauge, which is 1mm. The reason being is that if you have followed along these videos and you have done the other videos, you should have a spare shepherd's crook clasp ready to go and ready made, so I will be using that one. So yeah, only wire gauge today is 18 gauge 1mm, and the bead size I will be using today is about 8.5mm. Yeah, about 8.5mm, so you can get away with between 8 and 9mm bead size. Right then, should we crack on and let's make some wire jewellery. Right then, let's get started on making some jewellery here. So before we get going, when I do something like this, when I'm making a bracelet, something like this, I like to production line everything as well. So I like to know how many sections I've got to kind of make. Now, if I was you, I'd just make, because everybody's wrist is different. This is a really tricky one. Bracelets are a hard one to, it's either going to be too small or it's going to be too big. It's always the case I find when I make these kind of things. So, so yeah, how many components, how many of these you need is going to be, you're going to have to kind of wing it towards the end. So I've got a bracelet here that is I made ages ago. It's roughly about the same size. So I'm going to just have a quick look at it and see. So, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stages. So I'm actually going to, I think I'll make 8 of these. And then that will give me a good size bracelet, and then I can decide whether I would add one or take one away at the end, really, to see on the size wise. So I love this next. This is coming, by the way. We're going to be doing this next, which has got bead caps on, but I won't. Let's not talk about that because we're talking about this. So let's take that away. So now I know roughly how many of those I want to make. So we're going to start with the cages first. Let's get the cages first. So how I would work would be, so I want to make 8 of those. I'm going to cut 8 lengths of wire. It's a production line. This is how I like to work. So so for these cages, we're cutting 15 centimeters of 16 gauge 1mm wire, and make sure your ends are flush cut at both ends. So 15, be precise as well, 15 centimeters, and make sure you flush cut at both ends. Right then. Once you've cut all your wires, let's say 8 lengths at 15 centimeters, we now need to mark the center of them. Now, where has my Sharpie pen gone? There it is. That's something I forgot to say in tool talk. Sharpie pen. So go down each one of them and mark the halfway point which is 7.5 centimeters. And do that for all of them. Excellent. Now you've marked them all halfway down. Start creating your cages. Same way as I showed you in the last video. Start one side, create your loop like if it was a spiral. Now make sure when you create these loops now that they are wide enough. Get some wire through, because remember you have to put an eye pin through these. So yeah, you see I haven't gone too big, but just enough for a bit of 16 gauge 1mm to be able to go through. Important, both ends. So what I recommend maybe is you do one end and then do the other end, and then you can make sure you got both of them at the right size. Like so. Okay, that's a better focus. Where's the focus today? I can't seem to find the focus. There it is, a little bit shiny. Yeah, so let's create our cages, our first cage. So again, like I showed you in the previous video, roll all the way down to the halfway mark that you created. There it is. Are we there yet? Close. There we go. Now do the same again, the other side. Again, rolling all the way down to that halfway mark until you got your fancy letter S. Perfect. Now, before I actually go on to make the cages, I'm going to do the rest like this. I like to production line. So yeah, just bear with me when I do the other 7. There we go. Now I've got my 8 cages. Well, got my 8 fancy spirals. Next stage I would do at this stage would get my round nose pliers and poke them all up. So I'll quickly show you one on the close up. So again, like I showed you before in the cage video, just take your time by taking each layer down with your fingernails, poking it up. And remember to poke both sides up the same way. There we go, perfect. Or just about anyway. Plenty of time to adjust. Right, let's go do the rest. There we go, all of them ready. But before I turn them over and make them into a cage, just like this, I much prefer to get the next component done because it's a lot easier. Because we're going to place a bead in here, turn them over. We need the eye loop ready. We need our eye pin ready to go through. So before we move to the next stage, I recommend now is time to build 8 eye pins. So, how much wire do I need to cut? I hear you saying that. This is the one point where I don't really know. How big's your bead? How big's your cage? So if you're following along, I could give you a precise measurement for this. Well, I haven't actually got a precise measurement for that, but I do know, because going back to the eye loop video I showed you, that I made my eye loops on this, I do know it takes 12.5 millimeters, not centimeters, 12.5 millimeters to create that eye loop, that end. So what we could do is I could measure this, get a rough measurement here. So the bead itself, I tell you what, this is the time for the calipers. Let's get the calipers out. So let's do it. This is all about precision, isn't it? So let's roughly work out how much wire we need precisely. So we need about 13 mil of wire running through the cage and the bead, and adding, let's round it up by 1 mil just to give ourselves a little bit. It's always best to have a little bit more than we actually need. We can take away, but we can't add, because it's wire. You can't really glue wire together, can you? So that's a bit of maths now. Oh god, here we go. Maths while I'm on here. So that's 13 plus 13 plus 13. So that's 26. That's 26. That's 39. So 39. So I'm going to cut 4 centimeters. Now, in fact, I'm going to cut 45 mil, 4.5 centimeters. So I just want that little bit more than I actually need, because like I say, you can take away but you can't add, but it's not really that much wasted. If this was sterling silver, I would be really precise. So again, remember, flush cut your ends. So, and just cut yourself 8 lengths of 18 gauge, not 16 gauge. I think I said 16 earlier on, did I? Oh well, I got my words mixed up again. Anyway, let's start that again. 18 gauge at 45 mil, 4.5 centimeters. That'd be 8 of them. What you could do, another trick, instead of keep measuring off the ruler, you could just measure off the last piece of wire you cut. Now you have all your wires cut, taking your either round nose pliers or your bell pliers, place an eye loop in one end of those wires, in all of them, just one at each end. Like I showed you before in the last video, roll over, create the letter P, and using your chain nose pliers, placing it in down by where the loop meets the neck, and then kink it to the side and create a eye loop. Not one of my best ones. There we go, close it up. Not too bad. There we go. Right, production line, do the rest. Now you've made all your components, let's get this all together now. So, grab your beads and grab your cage. And you're going to need flat nose pliers here. So my recommendation, again, like I showed you in the original cage video, we're going to fold the cage over first, but we're not going to fold it all the way over. We're just going to go like 2/3 of the way over. So again, grabbing that wire that crosses over between the two spirals in the middle, and that edge of the pliers on that middle mark, and then you turn it over like I showed you in the cage video. It's about there. But I see, not quite gone the full way. Then so maybe a little bit more, just a touch more. Then grab your bead. Now this is the tricky part, because you've got a hole. Now you need to make sure you need to get your hole roughly in line. Don't worry if it's not quite in line. If you're lucky, we might be able to squeeze it around and move it. So pop your bead in. And of course it's not going to go the right way around. And then just with fingers and thumbs gently close it up. Grab yourself one of your eye pins. And now if your hole's not in the right position, you've got a chance here just to get your eye pin in There we go. Not all the way through yet. And now just sit there, fold your cage over, shape it. Maybe get your eye pin all the way through. There we go. Perfect. Now it's up to you how much you squash this, but I'm going to squash it down nice and neat. So it gives those top bits become more of a cap for the bead. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. And again, this is where I'd make the eye loop the other side. Taking my ruler. Now it's that we got plenty to spare with here. Absolutely plenty to spare with. So if you were making, say you wanted to make this out of sterling silver, this I would mock up one in copper first, and then measure your wastage, and then you know exactly how much wire you're going to need. So obviously I'm going to trim this off at 12.5 mil, just there, which left me really about 1 centimetre of wire left over. So there we go. If I was to make it in sterling, I'd take that centimetre off. So now I've done that, I'm going to make my eye loop the other side. But before I go that, I just really want to stress something here. This is just me. I know this is just me, but this is what I mean by precision. So you see how this eye loop is rolled down that way and the join is there? Do the same the other side, but opposite. I don't know why. It's aesthetics. It's just me. I just like it. It's like my symmetry. I think it looks good. Here you go. As you can see here, both the eye loops were rolled down. Oh, turned on its side. That one goes that way. That one goes that way. So the joins are on the same side. It's just a thing. It's not important, but it is to me. So let's do that then. So there we go. So I've trimmed it down. I'm going to take my bow pliers. Oh, I can feel a little bit of a straight bit there. I think that's better. I'm going to roll it all the way down to meet the bead. Like so. And using my chain nose, place that kink in. There. Perfect. There's my first one made. Cool. Do you know what? After looking at this now, I might even cut that down by another mil. See, just sticking out a bit too much there. I could always pull the cage out a little bit, fill the gap. Not a problem. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is the next one I make, I'm just going to cut it down by a mil. Brilliant. Right, crack on. Production line time now. Get the rest of them made. There we go. We've now made 8 components for our bracelet. Might not need all 8, might only need 7, might only need 6. All depends on your wrist size really. But we now need to join these together. So we need to make some jump rings. Now I know I haven't made a video on this. I briefly covered it in flush cutters. So I thought I'd bring it back up again here. So yeah, let's make some jump rings, shall we? So let's move this lot out of the way. Now I'm going to be using, again, 18 gauge, 1 mil. Don't worry about flash cutting just yet. And I'm going to be using a set of bow pliers here. So what size I'm going to be using? I want to use this slightly smaller size here. So obviously you can see the difference. So I made the eye loops on this one. I'm going to make the jump rings on this one here, just so a bit of difference. So what size? Let's do this so you can see this as well. So that, there we go. That's a 4 mil. So my jump rings are going to be 4 mil. So taking your 1 mil wire and your bow pliers, run your finger down and basically make a spring. We're going to want a few jump rings. Actually, before I get going, I just want to double check that size wise. How does that look? Do you know what? I don't know. This is great. I like doing design on the fly while I'm teaching, because this is how I work in the workshop. So could that work? Could that work? Because what I'm trying to do here, let me show you what we're doing. We're doing this. Yeah, let's do it. Let's stick with that size. Look at that. Got caught. So, yeah. Sorry for that quick interlude. Quick design on the fly. So where's focus? There's the focus. And basically, make a spring as long as you can. So how many jump rings do we need? So we're looking for 3 jump rings in between each component. And we've got 7 to 8 components, which means over 6 to 7 joins. So 7 times 3, 21 jump rings. So you need to make a few. Kind of production line time now. Right, I'm just going to stop there for the moment. I'm not going to trim it off because we're going to need more. I'm going to make a jump ring so I can show you how to do it. Then I can get into full production mode and hyperlapse this. So this job's out the way and now we're done. So making a jump ring. So you created your spiral, spring, whatever you like to call it. So you need to come in. Remember about flush cutting. This is all about flush cutting. Flat end in. So let's get rid of that. As you can see here, we've got a bit of a straight bit. I'm going to flush cut in onto that straight bit there. Just the one. Now you notice I'm not going straight across. Remember what I showed you in the flush cutter video? Don't go straight across and try and cut one out. Get your fingers behind. Pull it out. Just get your fingernail in there so you can get your pliers in. Turn this around. So you see I had it this direction. I'm going to turn it around this way and I keep my flush cutters the same direction each time. So you can now see I'm cutting the flat end in. A bit of a tricky one here. It's always very tricky working on camera. There we go. 1 jump ring, both ends flush cut. So yeah, do that. Keep going until you've got over 21 jump rings. There we go. We've now made a load of jump rings and we now need to get them together into how we want them. So we're going to place 3 together at one point here. So take 1 jump ring, close it up like so. Take a second jump ring, slightly open it and just join the 2 together. Standard connection. Put them both together. Now this is the next bit you need to do properly, so make sure you get it right. So bring the jump rings together so they're side by side. Have your third ready, open, like so. And I want you to come through the middle gap there. So you see them side by side, come through the middle gap there, like so. There we go. So they're hanging. Close that jump ring up. And then I want you to put them together until you create, there we go. It's like a knot pattern. There it is. Do that. So like get all your jump rings together and then place that on the deck. There's a reason why in a minute. We're not going to put it. It's very tricky to get this right from the start. So yeah, so get all your jump rings together in 3s, like so. There we go. Get your jump rings laid out on your bench so they're in that kind of, it's like a Celtic knot pattern. All 3 together. Now we're going to join them on. So just before we move on, so this works for me because of the size of my eye loops. Now you might have done this on your round nose pliers, these eye loops, so they might not be the right size to fit through something like this. So that's the reason this kind of works. I've got a slightly larger eye loop. So if you have got smaller eye loops than me, which is a good chance you might do, just go with 1 jump ring. you might not be able to fit these 3 through that eye loop size. So we need to join this all together. So let's get this together. So this is why I like to lay it out. So I'm just going to move these out of the way. I'll just bring one in. 2 beads. So what I'll do is I'll open up the eye loop on one side. This is the tricky part. Now you want to come in and you want to grab all 3, but in that pattern. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pick it up. Let's just quickly change the focus. There we go, that's a bit better for you to see. So I've picked it up and I've kept it in its pattern. Oh, there we go. Always tricky trying to do this on camera. There we go. It's in its pattern. I've got my eye loop open. I'm going to pop my eye loop through all 3. You see? And then I'm going to close that eye loop up nice and tight, no gap. Like so. Get my other one ready. Open the eye loop up. Now, this is the easy part. So I then hang it. It's a bit tricky to see on the camera here. I'll do my best. Hang it, because then it'll sit in. It takes its form. Then place your eye loop through. And ooh, we close it up. We're going to hear the sirens in the background. Don't you hear that? The woo-wahs are going. There we go. There you go. You can see that. It's kind of Celtic knot pattern it makes. Right. Go down and do the rest. Excellent. There we go. We're all together. Now the next thing, and the last thing, is we need a clasp at the end now. So if you have done my previous video and you did the shepherd's crook clasp, you got one spare lying about. So you might as well use that. So here we go. There's a shepherd's crook clasp I made 2 videos back. I'm going to place that on the end. One not looking pretty cool. Let's do the same the other side. Again, just slightly open the eye loops up to one side. Placing them on. Closing those eye loops up. There we go. We have one cage bracelet for a shepherd's crook clasp. Finished. You know what? I think this needs some patina and a little bit of polishing. Let's get in focus. There we go. That's better focus. Sorry about that. Bit out of focus there on that one. So there you go. All finished. Shepherd's crook clasp. Yeah. So let's go there. Let's go patina and polish. There we go. Patinaed and polished. I polished it in the tumbler this time. I will bring the tumbler up in another episode. I don't want to I don't want to give you loads of information at the moment about lots of different things, and I don't want to make you feel like you need to go out there and buy a tumbler. But yeah, we go. Patinaed, polished, and tumbled. I still need to use the protector clear on it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Superb. Excellent. So there you go. We've combined 3 or 4 basic skills video into one, and we've made a bracelet. So yeah, practice that. Get practicing. So what you're getting out here is a foundation in spirals and precision measuring and learning your eye loops. Now, you might want to crack on and make lots of bracelets and necklaces. You might just want to leave this alone and really wish I'd get on with the pendant making soon. But this is for you beginners. You need to practice this. These are great foundations. You need these skills because really what you're learning is tool skills here. You're learning how to use your tools. You're learning how to measure. It's not so much about the designs. It's about the muscle memory that you're teaching yourself while you're building. Excellent. So please remember, please like and subscribe if you're really enjoying this. And if you're really enjoying these free workshops, please come on over to Patreon and maybe come and support me over there. That'd be really good. Anyway, nice one, people. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. It's been great fun. Excellent. Brilliant. See you soon. Bye-bye. To support this channel and help me keep making more videos, please come on over to join my Patreon, where you'll get early access to all my videos, free downloads of my books and tutorials, and entries into my giveaways and more.